Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Storytime Society. We post on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays long episodes, and Mondays and Thursdays mini episodes. I also just made a Patreon, guys. I really actually made a Patreon, and I already have the stories picked out for the first episode that I'm making. It's a lot easier to find like crazy stories and spicy stories than like normal ones. If you want to join, that would also be amazing, and I would really appreciate that and love you so much. But I love you all so much, equally, no matter what. And we're just going to get straight into the episode. This is going to be an in laws episode, but like not just mother in laws, other in laws as well. So, the first title of the first story is Am I the Asshole for Doing the Same? In law visits exclude me from their brunch and dinners as a family. Hi everyone, I, 30 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for almost 3 years. 2 years ago, I moved to the other side of the country, the US, for my wife's job. She and her family are from the Middle East. Her sister lives in the next state over. Each time they visited, they go out as a family to dinner and brunch at a nice place without me. I expressed it made me uncomfortable and I felt disrespected, especially considering that they were staying here. And this continued to happen with every visit. I expressed my increasing discomfort and anger with each occurrence. Cue current visit. They are to be here in our home from Thursday to Tuesday. After work at 7:45, I go out to the deck for a smoke to decompress. 8:25 p.m., my mother-in-law comes to the deck and tells me dinner reservation is at 8:30 and to get ready. No one told me anything. I go upstairs and my wife is getting ready in a room. I pop in and incredulously ask her why she didn't tell me about dinner. Her response was, "You could have asked, couldn't you?" I tell her this is incredibly rude. She said this is about my father-in-law's birthday. I go to my desk for more work and ask wife to let me know when she's done getting ready. My sister-in-law and wife both pass behind me while getting wife ready, not saying a word. I then hear them going downstairs in the front door, closing. I go downstairs and they're gone. I called my wife 4 times, no answer. I am seething. I drive to cool off and get a call from my wife 20 minutes later. I go off about why she didn't say anything to me and how they all ditched me and how this is extremely disrespectful. She says, "Oh, okay, I'll tell them you said so." They get back at 11 p.m. My sister-in-law asks if I ate. I said yes, even though I didn't. My father-in-law looks at the TV and asks if I'm watching X. I say yes. They say good night and go to bed. Saturday morning, I go get breakfast. I took extra time because I wanted to be anywhere away from them. I get a message from my father-in-law. We're making brunch for everyone. My wife texted asking where I am, and I didn't reply. My father-in-law and mother-in-law are in the kitchen saying brunch is ready and to please eat. I tell them I ate before heading upstairs to my desk to game for the first time in months. My wife comes and says something, but I can't hear her. At 6:30, I go downstairs to heat up food. My sister-in-law is on the couch. My wife, mother-in-law, and father-in-law walk downstairs. No one says anything to me. My wife is on the middle of the stairs when she yells, "Is everyone stressed out and quiet because of that rude, boring buzzkill? Don't let that fat POS ruin your day." I respond, "Oh, look, it's a talking garbage can. Hey, Oscar." My sister-in-law looks at me and throws up her hands. I continue to eat my sandwich as everyone leaves. My wife texts me that my mother-in-law is crying in the car because of how uncomfortable I made all of them. They are all leaving, wife included. I said their leaving is completely fine by me and that they're the ones who showed the disrespect first. They are all leaving tomorrow morning to take to a lake resort for the remainder of their time. Am I the asshole? Okay, when I read the title, I'm like, ew, that family sucks, asshole, asshole. But when I apply it to like my life and my experiences, I don't know. I feel like we could be just hearing one side of the story because I'm like, the way that I'm gonna not take his side on this, when from hearing this story, I'm like, I'm siding with him, okay? But when I think about it from like maybe a different perspective, like why aren't they inviting you? It could be just as simple as they're shitty people and they don't include you in things, or it could be that no one in the family likes you because you're like not a good person or you're like toxic, and they all want their family member to divorce you. Because that is my personal experience, and I'm just applying my personal experience to that. Like dealing with someone, I'm not going to say who, someone's dad who is like bonkers beyond relief. Beyond relief? Is that the word? I don't know. It sounds, but beyond belief. Okay, that's right. Beyond belief, he's actually insane in so many ways. I could tell you so many different stories about the crazy shit he does, but I won't. I'll spare him. And everyone always wanted them to not be together. The mom and the dad. Like, the mom, amazing person, so beautiful, kind person, normal, never was flabbergasting everyone like this man was. He was like the most toxic person in the world ever for anyone to be around. Like, I will literally pray for anyone that is ever around him. And so everyone in her family always, and just anyone even around her knew, like, this is not a good marriage. Like, you need to leave this man. So yeah, they would do things like go on vacation without him, with her extended family, and not invite him because it would be terrible and no one liked him. And for good reason. It's not just like leaving this man out because they're terrible people. So I'm imagining him writing this story, and he's so manipulative and crazy that I know that he would make it seem like it was all on him and like people were bullying him, and he lies like crazy. Like, he's lied literally to my friends about stories that involve me, and they're just so inaccurate that it's actually crazy. It's not even like he could misinterpret what happened, it's just inaccurate and made up, false. All the whole entire story, like, literally made up from thin air, because that's how crazy this man is. So I'm just like picturing him writing this and making everyone making him out to be the victim and making everyone like on his side, and it's triggering me because like this man would do this, and I'm like, ew. If this was him, I'm scared. But then at the same time, if that's not the case, obviously like that family sucks and they're assholes for that, and that wife sucks and she's an asshole for that. But if it's the other way around, then it's like, good job for standing up to him. And I don't know. I'm like, I wish there was two sides to this story, or maybe a few more sides to this story, because obviously it's so obvious to any person that just reads this without any prior experience like I'm talking about, and saying like, oh, obviously it's the family that's fucked up and he's not the asshole. But I don't know. For me, I'm having a completely different experience, and this is already concluded to be not the asshole. Like, everyone in the comments basically said not the asshole. And so I'm obviously on the opposite side of that, and I'm just thinking that there's more to the story. And I feel like I'm seeing through and reading between the lines, but I could just be making a complete assumption and blaming this man for doing absolutely nothing, and maybe he is the victim. So don't get mad at me. I'm just talking from my own experience, but let's read some comments. Not the asshole. Your wife clearly disrespects you and puts her family way ahead of you. They all trick you, deceive you, and enjoy it, whilst pretending to be dumb, like it's all your fault. They're gaslighting you. Separate, pack your bags, and go to a hotel. Get an attorney and file for divorce. You have been in the marriage of one person married to other people. And then OP said, yeah, wholeheartedly agree. You have been in a marriage of one person married to other people. I've never really considered that, but you hit it square on the nose. Thanks for that. And then someone responded to that. They are all leaving tomorrow morning to a lake resort for the remainder of their time. So you have tomorrow to collect your important stuff and decide what to do about finances, and Monday to Tuesday to contact lawyers and move out or change the locks. OP said, the lease is up at the end of September. I will have to move back to the other side of the country, so unfortunately I can't be quick about it. Seeing a lawyer is a good idea, though. And then someone responded to that. They don't know your plan or timeline. Keep it that way. Keep doing little things for you between now and escape day, and the rest keep up an act of sorts. Then just go. Best revenge is to live a good life. I like to play a favorite FU song in my head as a soundtrack when I'm forced to endure people like this. It can help you numb for your remaining time. Good luck. And then OP said, yeah, I left with just the things that would fit in my car. Fortunately, I haven't been here that long, but whatever extra stuff I've amassed, I plan to ship back chunks at a time. The rest I plan to fire sell, donate, or junk. I mean, if it's the case that you're the victim here, I'm sorry, and I'm glad that you're getting out. I am glad. But I'm just like thinking about my experience, and I'm like, oh, someone said, so you asked to be included. Mother-in-law says get ready, and instead you have a fit and pout. Then you don't get ready. You go back to your office and start working and then get mad that they left you behind. The way she treats you is bad, I agree. But then when things don't go exactly your way, you pout like a child. Everyone sucks here. See, I'm a little bit more on that side of things, but whatever. I want to know what you guys think about this one. And the only reason that I'm saying that is because of my experience. If I've never had like a bad experience that kind of like triggers this kind of response, I would be completely agreeing with everyone saying he's not the asshole and this family sucks. But that's what is amazing about everyone in their own unique experiences. It brings a different perspective and a different light to every story. So we love that. And that is what this is about. Like obviously my opinions aren't always going to be right, but I share my perspective in the way that I've like grown up and learned about the world, just as you guys can share your perspectives in the comments, and it could be different than mine. And that's totally okay because we're slaying the day away. Okay, the next story. Am I the asshole for bringing a dish from my culture to my in-laws' family reunion? I am 28 female and Chinese American. My husband and my in-laws are all white. On Saturday, they had a family reunion, and because my husband wanted me to go so bad, I made a traditional Chinese dish called Sha Long Bao. My mother-in-law gave a bad look when I placed the plate down at the table. She comes up to me and asks, "What have you got there?" I tell her what it is, and she told me that Eastern food doesn't belong in her home. I was forced to throw it out, and my heart was broken. I walked out and sat in the car for an hour waiting for my husband to come out. On the car ride home, it was mostly silent until he broke it with, "Yeah, sorry about that. My mom really doesn't like any other culture outside of my family's." My in laws have never been directly racist to me before. This is the second gathering with them I have been to, and also the third time seeing my mother in law. My family isn't happy at this, and my sister suggested that I divorce my husband and marry within our culture. My mom was never happy with me marrying him in the first place, and I didn't have a wedding because of it. My husband has a neutral opinion on the situation and acts like it isn't much of a big deal. He has said that his family didn't seem to care about our relationship at all, but I'm starting to think he may have lied to me about that. Oh, so his entire family is racist and he's okay with it. Maybe he needs to educate himself a little bit more, because also, what culture? What culture do they have? What culture are they talking about? I mean, maybe they have one, okay, but she says they're all white. What? American culture? Like, what do you I don't know what what, like, are you guys having like cheeseburgers and fries and no, not even pizza because that's Italian. It's like, only you don't like any other culture outside of your family. What is that exactly? And even regardless of that, even if like that aside, whatever, that's really fucked up. And I don't really understand why you wouldn't like welcome someone else's culture, especially I feel like the best way to go about that and like bring your culture into someone else's world is by food, because we all love food. So like I would be so happy. I'd be like, "Please give me some of that food, please." Because like when I was younger, I had a neighbor. Her name was Eunice. We lived in an apartment building right after my parents had gotten divorced, and I became really good friends with her. And her family were Chinese, and they would invite me over for dinner and always make Chinese food. But like obviously it was so cool because it was actually like it wasn't just like restaurant Chinese food and that's like a little bit Americanized. It was actually Chinese food. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And that's so cool. Like, I don't really understand why you wouldn't be appreciative of that. It seems like she's just going out of her way to be a literal asshole. So Okay, some of the top comments. It doesn't belong in her home. Is that really a metaphor for how she feels about her son bringing you into their lives? What a hideous, tacky bitch. My dad in law is Chinese. Wait, DIL? Am I dumb? Daughter in law. My daughter in law is Chinese and I love her. She's smart and talented, and I think my son is so lucky they found each other. And I'd be thrilled if she brought something from her culture to a family gathering. I'm so sorry about your experience with those awful people. If you have kids, guess who will never get to see them? I don't think, I think before you have kids with this man, he needs to learn a little bit more about the fact that his family is blatantly racist to the woman that you love and are married to. Someone said, I'm afraid Opie's husband is so weak in the spine that he will take any children they have to his mommy for her to mistreat. I sincerely hope Opie rethinks this relationship. I hope so too. I would have walked out with my dish and enjoyed it myself. I'm not a confrontational person, but I would have been sitting out in the car wishing I'd had the guts to say, well, do I belong in your house? Loudly, and make her actually answer. Them and the husband didn't care. She was out alone for an hour. He clearly picked a side. Seriously. If your wife was out in the car for an hour, oh, that's insane. I can never imagine that happening with my boyfriend. Like if I went out in the car because I was so hurt by me bringing a dish from my culture and his mom was a literal douchebag about it, my boyfriend would immediately have followed me out the door and been like, that was so fucked up. Let's go. You know? And that's what should happen because you guys are supposed to be partners, not, yeah, sorry about that. Girl. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you would like to listen on Spotify, we have a link in the description below. And if you're there, give us a follow and rate us 5 stars. Love you. He's gross. Next story. The title is Am I the Asshole for Ruining My Brother in Law's Reputation by Telling the Truth to My Friends? My in laws are currently furious with me for hurting my brother in law's feelings and reputation with my friend group. Recently, my single brother in law, Chris, 38 male, has been hinting at me to introduce him to women, and I've refused. Chris has been single for almost 3 years, and he has been having a hard time meeting women. He tried flirting with my friend, but she had been cold and non receptive. This was my friend, Grace, 35 female. Grace is not interested in him due to his inability to be faithful, and she wasn't physically attracted to him. He tried to flirtatiously engage with her during a small party my husband and I had last Saturday. My husband got along, awaited promotion, so we had a little party. During the party, Grace had grown frustrated with his incessant flirting and at some point told him in no uncertain terms that she found him physically ugly and that his physical ugliness is only surpassed by the ugliness of his character. She told him this in private, and so no other guest had heard her scathing review of his personhood. Chris left the party. The following afternoon, while my husband and I were nursing a wicked hangover, my in laws, to my surprise, called to scold me for having abused and embarrassed Chris. After a few minutes of us shouting back and forth on the phone, I reminded my husband that handling his family was his job. So while my husband argued with his parents, I reviewed our security cameras. And honey, Grace verbally tore him apart. Grace reminded him that he cheated and divorced his late ex wife, Lily, while she was battling cancer, and that he then got dumped by the mistress for being a cheater as he continued to cheat on her. Grace told him that he wasn't a man of any significant value other than the few coins he had in the bank, and that there's no way in hell she'd entertain his delusions of sexual grandeur and beauty. She also said the only thing he had going for him was his over bloated job title as an executive director to a third rate company that will probably collapse in the next 5 years. As a parting gift, she told him to consider some cosmetic work to improve his haggard appearance and perhaps to start praying for divine intervention to fix his rotten soul, since there is no way a psychotherapist would ever come close to fixing whatever is wrong with him. My in laws and Chris feel that I shouldn't have told my friends what Chris did because he's now perceived by my girlfriends as a terrible person. I told them he was unfortunately a terrible person, and people would have always found out what had happened between him and the late, great Lily. I then discussed what happened with my colleague Natasha. She said I was cruel for having told my friend group about what happened between Chris and his ex wife because Chris had grown a lot in the past 2 years and didn't need to be known for the worst thing he's ever done. Natasha is dating Chris's friend, so she also knows him. FYI, I've only discussed Chris's treatment of Lily with my direct friend group, and that's only 6 people, and half of them already knew as they were also friends with Lily. So it's not like I'm screaming her, hear ye, in the town square. Well, first of all, if you're sexually harassing me and you won't stop flirting with me when I've literally made it known I'm not flirting back with you, you deserve whatever is coming to you. Men, sorry, you can't sexually harass women and then expect them to just be like act like they like you just for your own ego because you're scared. Like, because immediately as they say something, your ego is hurt and you leave. Also, I think she has every right. Like, bye. Sorry that you're a cheater. Don't don't do bad things, and then people won't have bad things to talk about, right? Like, isn't that kind of something like Taylor Swift said or something? Don't treat people like shit over and over again, multiple different people, and then maybe people won't think you treat people like shit and are a shitty person. It's really as simple as that. It's really not rocket science either. So, shouldn't be that hard to figure out, but and all of this could have been avoided if you would have just wrapped it up. You know, like wrap up the flirting immediately. As soon as you can tell a girl is not interested, stop flirting. Stop flirting. They're not going to change their mind. If anything, they're going to fucking file a restraining order against you, you creepy ass. Men that flirt with no boundaries and they are just gonna go after and after and after it are disgusting. And you have no sense of self awareness because when a woman shows you she's not interested, you aren't, this isn't a, it isn't like an opportunity for you to chase harder after her and win her over and like prove yourself to whatever you're trying to prove yourself to. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's really so embarrassing, to be honest. And I immediately would be calling my friends, like, this guy's such a loser. He wouldn't stop flirting with me, and he was embarrassing himself. Bye. Especially if they're ugly and their insides are ugly. Like, sorry, but that's honestly rude to me at that point. Like, that's kind of disgraceful. That's kind of you saying that you think I would succumb to that and that I deserve that type of person. That's embarrassing and that is honestly insulting because why would I ever be with you? No. Sorry. No thanks. Okay, let's read some comments. Not the asshole. How can telling the truth be perceived as unfair? Chris did this to himself. It was his behavior that is the problem. Why should you expose your friends to a potentially horrific relationship? You know your brother in law is a cheater, but your in laws want you to keep that from your friends so he can continue to take advantage without consequences. I think you did the right thing. And this is a 38-year-old guy running to mommy and daddy crying when a lady tells him to F off. Wow, his stellar history and inability to fight his own battles. I can't fathom how women aren't breaking down his door to get a piece of him. His looks can be overlooked, but his stellar history and inability to fight his own battles, yeah, no sane woman can overlook unfaithful mommy's boys. And I'm sorry, why does it matter if OP talked to her friends about something? Does brother in law have such a limited dating pool that the only people he can possibly date are OP's friends, especially when he has Natasha, who seems to think he's fine and has grown up so much in the 2 whole years? He should be asking Natasha to set him up with women. He clearly hasn't because any man that's grown in 2 years wouldn't be sexually harassing someone. Right? Right. You're scary. Men are scary. And please, by all means, if a man is flirting with you and you have shown him you're not interested, or even told him you're not interested, or even just ignored him and not said anything, which shows that you're not interested, you have every right in the world to call him an ugly ogre, trash looking piece of shit. So do it. Do with that what you please. But no, you're not, sorry, you're not excused. Like, no, I'm not gonna be a polite little lady, because that's what you expect from all women, is just to bow down to you and your every request. No. Bye. Piece of shit. You're ugly. See ya. And then I'm gonna, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that's mean, but you can't sexually harass women and then expect nothing in return. Okay? That's my TED Talk. Thank you for coming. That's the end of the story times. We're gonna move on to the advice segment. So if you guys ever want some unprofessional advice from me, the Google form is linked below, and I take zero information, so it's completely anonymous, and you can ask me whatever you want. Okay? So this question, and I don't read these before. I've done it once before. I read like a really long one and kind of decided what I wanted to say, but most of the time I don't read them before. I am just not reading this with you guys. Okay. Sorry. Okay, this might be a long one, but I'm so stressed. I'm literally having dreams about it. My brother, 2021, give or take, left the family about 2 years ago after a huge fight with my dad. He had been going through a lot emotionally, and me, my sister, my husband, and my aunt had not taken any sides in the feud because we knew both people in it needed us. My dad can be a hardhead and not the most emotional man, and my brother wanted him to open up more, as well as he didn't want to work with my dad anymore. Me, my sister, husband, and aunt were the go between, trying to help them work things out. We also took care of my brother in emotional turmoil he was facing. Late night talks, let him sit at our workplaces so he wasn't alone, stuff like that. We were there for him in any way he needed. I feel like I need to add that he's technically my stepbrother, but when my dad and his mom split, he was 18 and decided to stay with my dad. Another thing that needs to be known is he also has a long term girlfriend that our family loves. Anyway, there was a huge blowout argument where my brother said and did some things, truly mean things, towards my dad. Then he moved out and cut all of us off completely. No contact, even us who were there for him. This broke my heart. Obviously, I felt bad for my dad, but I was also really hurt that he just cut me off. I stayed friends with his girlfriend, but she never let us talk about him. She didn't tell me anything about what was going on with him, which, to be honest, is honorable. She's loyal, but I wanted my brother back and answers to why he cut me off too. Anyway, time has passed. My uncle died and my brother was invited to the funeral. He didn't show and didn't let his girlfriend go. Then I had a baby. His girlfriend sees her when my dad takes her to restaurants she waitresses at. My dad knows the owner, and my brother's girlfriend loves my daughter. We said on multiple occasions that he needs to meet his niece. Nothing. Now, my dad just got him out of legal trouble, really proved that he loved him, and now he's back. Apologized to my dad a lot. Everything has been forgiven, prodigal son style. This is where it gets tricky. My sister told me my dad told her that he really wants to see his sisters and meet his niece. But my dad told me just the part with my daughter. He said he was going to see her on Sunday at the restaurant. Let me add that when my dad takes my baby to breakfast, he's babysitting. I'm at work. Nope, veto. I've been waiting so long for him to meet my daughter. I want to be there. But I want to speak to him first. Everyone is acting like it's all over. He's back and everything's forgiven. But I haven't gotten to talk to him. I was really hurt by him cutting us off, and so was my husband. But I feel like I'm supposed to act like it didn't happen and just be happy that he's back, but I'm still hurting. What do I do? Please help. I think that is honestly probably one of the more simple questions that I've been asked, and maybe it just doesn't feel simple to you because you're in that situation, but from me, like the outside perspective looking in, it seems like you want to talk to your brother, and that's what you should do. I think that you need to call him up, be like, hey, I want to see you. Whether you come over here or I come over there, we meet somewhere, let's talk. I really want to, talk about what's happened and the last couple of years of not being in contact, and kind of mend things over so I don't feel resentment against you, and kind of figure out where your head was at in the last couple years of you completely cutting me off because I don't feel like I deserved it and I was hurt. And you're totally valid in your feelings and feeling that. And I don't think that it should just be pushed under the rug. And I don't think that he's just like come back and it's all butterflies and rainbows, because it's not. And you clearly said that it hurt your feelings, and that is a completely valid thing to feel. Your feelings are hurt and it's your brother. So, hi, like, let's talk things out so that I can get some closure on the situation and figure out why I was there for you so much and then you cut me off for no reason, because that is just, it's unacceptable to you, and obviously you wished that he was in your life during that time period, and that's really sad that he cut you off. So I think you don't let, you know, don't let him, it's your decision as well. It's your child. Don't let him meet her until you get to talk to him and talk through things with him. And hopefully, if he loves you and cares about you, which I'm sure he does, he'll be willing to talk to you about it and be willing to hear your side on things and answer your questions that you have so that you guys can make peace with each other. And then he can meet your daughter and you guys can live and be a happy family, you know? So I think that if you want to talk to him, you should talk to him, and you have every right to be upset and not want to just move on and brush everything under the rug. Like, that's not just something you brush under the rug. That's a big deal to not talk to someone for so long and then all of a sudden just be like, okay, everything's okay, when it's not. And yeah. So I hope everything works out for you. Let me know. I would love an update. I always love if you guys ever have an update about any of the advice questions that I answer, please put it in the form. And if you want to let me know, I would love to hear like updates and see how things turned out for you. So just make sure you reference like what advice question you're talking about so that I can obviously know, because I don't have any other like thing to reference back to since it doesn't collect any information, like not even an email or anything. It literally just shows me the paragraph or whatever that you put in, like the text that you put in, and that's it. So, yeah, I hope that helps and I hope everything goes well for you guys. Oh my god, sorry, my back hurts so bad. I'm gonna lay down for a second because my back is actually broken. But the advice segment's over, by the way. So if you want to exit out now, you can. But I think I'm gonna chat a little bit. I don't really know what about yet. Probably just random shit that I feel like talking about. So stay if you please, but if you don't, then that's okay as well. What did we do this weekend? We played pickleball yesterday. We went shopping for groceries, all the boring stuff, you know. I think I'm getting better at pickleball, and it's actually so fun and it's really nice. I've also been eating really healthy. I told you guys I'm doing like a 75 hard version of my own version. I don't know. I really need to exercise today though, cuz I haven't exercised yet. Or maybe do I take a break? No, I didn't exercise on Saturday. I don't know. I'm not working out every day. I'm trying to work out a few times a week and let that be the balance. You know, I'm not exercising every day. That's just too much for me. Also, I'm in my luteal phase. Is that what it's called? For my period. And it says that I need to get extra rest because progesterone is building in my body. I don't know. I don't know what any of that means, but it's telling me to get rest. And if it's telling me to get rest, then I'm gonna get rest because I need an excuse to get rest, anyways. Oh, last night I literally not meal prepped, but I prepped so much stuff. It's not even that much, but it feels like so much. So I cut up a bunch of veggies and then put them all in containers. And then I make this, I bought like the ranch seasoning at the store and then took Greek yogurt and mixed it together instead of like sour cream because that makes like a yummy ranch dip, but it's healthier because it's Greek yogurt instead of sour cream, and it still tastes really good. And so that's for the week for like veggies, little snacks. And then I've been making these yummy ass cottage cheese protein bagels. It's literally cottage cheese, flour, and baking powder, and I think a little salt, but I forgot to put salt last night. So I made a few of those for me and my boyfriend for the couple of the mornings this week. And then I made a cottage cheese, like super healthy Greek yogurt buffalo chicken dip. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you could just press the subscribe button, the like button, and leave us a comment, it would really help with the algorithm and pushing out my videos to other people like you who like this type of content. Love you. And that's what we had for dinner last night. And then we have leftovers for dinner tonight. Then I also cut up a bunch of dates. I drizzled peanut butter over it and I melted dark chocolate and drizzled that over the dates as well. And then I put it in the freezer. And if you guys don't like the texture of dates, the freezer makes the texture so much better. It's so good. And it tastes like Reese's peanut butter cups with the peanut butter and the chocolate. So that's our dessert for the week, like healthy dessert, but it's actually so good. The dates are so sweet. It's literally like candy. And then what else did I prep? There was one other thing that I made. Oh, I made 6 protein ground chicken burritos. So now we have like 25 burritos in our freezer because my boyfriend made like 16. I made 12 or 13. Actually, I think I made 14. And no, I made 12. I made 12. No, no, no. No, I made 14. And yeah, so we've been eating those for lunch and they're like really good with the carb balance, tortillas, and I think that's all I prepped. But it felt like a lot because I was doing everything at once because I really wanted it to go by really quickly. And I think that took me like only 2 hours because I was going so fast. But yeah, it's all really good and I'm trying to figure out I want to lose weight, but you guys know I've talked about so many times how I am with my body dysmorphia and just like always not being able to go on diets because I just end up taking it too far. So I'm trying not to do that and I'm trying to actually eat and like get a lot of protein. So that's why I'm making all of this like protein stuff because I know that that's good for me. And then like veggies as well, so that if I'm super hungry, I can snack on some veggies and then, I have like options and it's all good and I'm not just going to like starve myself and I'm actually going to be able to I'm eating every meal and also snacks in between. You know what I mean? Cuz that's so important. Like I just need to figure out how to be healthy about losing weight and not super unhealthy because I get impatient and then I'm like, ew, I hate myself. I don't like looking in the mirror. Like I rarely look in the mirror when I'm naked. I always turn away from the mirror whenever I'm like getting in the shower cuz I just don't like looking at my body. It's as simple as that. I don't like it at all. So, yeah, I want to be comfortable in my body again and I think that comes with me putting a little self-care and actually like trying to take care of my body, getting some exercise, drinking a lot of water, electrolytes, protein, and veggies and all that good stuff. So, we'll see how I'm doing it 75 days. So, it's been like 5, I think. Maybe 6. It's I think it might be 6 days. I don't know. Maybe less than that, but so, we're hoping for the best. And yeah, I'm doing well so far. I'm definitely like it's a struggle, but it's an everyday battle and it's okay. I'll figure it out. I'm going to just work on it the next 75 days. Hopefully it will help me to build like healthy habits. And also I know that like I shouldn't be doing it in an unhealthy way because I know where that led me this time, you know? Like it just led me to making my metabolism be shit and me gaining not a bunch of weight, but I gained like 15, 20 pounds from when I was really heavily in my eating disorder. And it's because I did it in such an unhealthy way that it ruined me and made me gain weight easily back. So, trying to figure out, that journey. But, anyways, I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought about all of the stories. And I will talk to you in the next episode of Storytime Society. Love you.